So I spent a few hours today trying to figure out the best way to emboss and deboss models here in 3D Stager, and it actually turned out to be pretty easy. So if you want to get that effect, all you got to do is start by exporting the UVs of your model. So I'll select this specific cover and go to Object, Export UVs, and the resolution doesn't matter right now. So I'll export that, and it should only take a second. But once that's saved out, I'll go ahead and open the PSD, and your case might be different, but for me, I don't really know what I'm looking at. Like I don't know what's front, what's back, and whatnot. So what I'll do is just turn on the texture grid and Control S to save that. So if I hop into Stager, I'll link the base color to that so I can actually see the image. So I'll go to Image and then File and find the PSD. So we are looking at D and E 6 through 9. And it looks like the spine is actually right on the end of D right there. So I can just drop a guide there in Photoshop. And so I'll hop back into Photoshop actually, and I'll go ahead and drop that guide I was talking about on the end of D. And essentially I just want to like mark where I'm going to place the graphics. So I'll drop guides on all the edges. Doesn't have to be exact, but just roughly. Zoom in a little there. I'll make a selection so I can mark the middle of it. So I'll select from corner to corner and drop a guide and drop one more. And so now I can actually place the graphic just dead center. So I'll hop into Illustrator where I have it, copy it, and go back into Photoshop. I'll put it in this layer or this folder here that they have set up, paste it. And I don't really like when, let me actually hide these UV guys, but I don't like it when the Illustrator pastes as like a library asset. So I'll turn this to a smart object and just scale it down. So I'll put it in the center, and it, it doesn't have to be exact, just get the idea. And so essentially, if you want to deboss it, so press it in, it would be a black image on a white background, and then embossing is opposite, but I'll start with debossing to give you an idea. So I'll save this, hop back into Stager, and I'll get rid of the base color. I don't need this anymore. And because what I actually want is the height. So if I go to the height, I'll actually put some settings in before I like plug it in. So I'll change the height level to 1 and then the height scale to like 0.0 something, less than 0.1, because I want it to be super light, like just barely press in. And so now with that set, I'll go to put my image in, and that is good. You won't notice anything yet because we don't have the displacement on. So I'll go to Object and turn on displacement. And now it's just, while it's on, it's super low res. So what we need to do is change, you technically can do per triangle, but I like total face budget. So essentially what it is the resolution of the image. Or of the model rather. So you would just scale this up, and you can kind of see the kiwi slowly like poke through. But yeah, it's just resolution. But the problem here is that it's essentially multiplying the density of this model. So like you can't see it, but there's now a ton of polygons where it used to just be like, if I had to guess, like only a couple. So while that we do need to up it to get like a more clear resolution. So like I'm not going to bring it much higher just because I'm recording, so it'll probably crash my computer. But in your case, you would probably want it to be a couple million. Just be sure to put those commas because it doesn't work without it. But yeah, so just be mindful that it is upping the resolution of this whole model. And then that's for a large embossed or debossed image in this case. So like it's a fairly large thing, but if you wanted like just a little icon or something, that probably won't work just because you would need to be so high res that you probably just would crash before you get there. So it's just unfortunate. That's just how it is. But yeah, so that is how you would go about that. And then if you wanted to emboss it, so raise it up, it's a pretty similar process, but instead of height level 1, you would go height level 0 and change the, if I go back into Photoshop, I want to flip the color. So I'll change this to a white kiwi. So color overlay and change it to white. And then I'll change the background to black. So I'll just make a new fill layer and give it a black color, save that, and you got to relink it in Stager. It doesn't just automatically update. So we will go into the height and relink it. And there you go. You can see it's pressed outward now. And again, you would want to like up that resolution to like get a really clear image, but you get the idea. So yeah, that is how you would go about embossing or debossing a model here in 3D Stager.